Is there such a thing in our industry, unlike in many other industries, like the medical field, like, the law field, right? They do have to pass the bar exam, the board exam. They do have to get certified. If you're an EMT, you have to get certified. And like you mentioned to me before, if you're in IT support, right, like technical field, you have to get certified in certain areas. But in design, is there such a thing as a certification?
No, not at all. I don't think there never will be, to be honest. Something that can be concrete and that's showing proof that you can do the job. I think that design is completely different from like getting a CompTIA or an A plus or a Cisco certification, right? It's different from getting like a degree in law. And I would even say that even if you get a degree in law or something, you still have to build up your rep. You still have to be an associate, right?
Yeah.
And you have to work as a grunt and work your way up.
Hmm.
And I think with design, I think things that are really going to make you stand out is really getting good at your craft first and foremost. And I think in this industry, more and more as time goes by, outcomes really matter. So were you able to increase like engagement in the area? Were you able to work with data science? Are you able to work with people successfully? Like that is your certification. It is your signal at the end of the day. And a lot of entry level people, I really want you to understand that you're competing against other folks that are coming from SCAD, Rhode Island, and all these other schools. Side note, that doesn't mean that they're better than you at all. I've seen terrible portfolios from those schools, but still, right, is that you have to prove your value and you have to make impact. And I think, Stella, we talked about this before, right? But execution is what matters. And when I say execution and craft, I mean, can you produce something where you care about the details of your work, but it's quantifiably meeting business and user goals? And you can really demonstrate that to a hiring manager for someone to hire you. That's your certification. That's what matters. And we need to talk more
Absolutely.
about that in this community.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And, it reminds me of a recent, kind of development that we have here at Path Unbound. So we have some former students and former interns who have, notify us that they're getting new jobs after working with us, after being a student here, because they can actually tell people now what they did and what results they were able to achieve while
Yeah.
working with us and for us. And I think, companies like us, this is not to pat ourselves in the back, but really to provide, a pathway for entry level designers who have zero experience that bigger companies unfortunately aren't willing to look at. So I hope more and more companies like us who are in the early stage is are willing to give those raw talent a chance. Don't require them to have any experience, but based on your intuition and on their, I would say, like sense of responsibilities, to provide them with those experience so that they could leave and go to another company and then build their career while contributing to your company in the short term. So I think if you're frustrated by the fact that, oh wow, I thought the Google certificate is really cool, that's what I was going to do, or wow, do I really have to spend $7,000 at a big boot camp? If you're kind of daunted by those two, and then kind of not sure where to go from there because it seems like there's no pathway in between, this is your pathway. Whether you choose Google, whether you choose Path Unbound, whether you choose another boot camp, or whether you choose to get a degree, it's actually really up to you to really forge the path forward, right? So I think that's a really important thing to note. And another thing that the students who flowed over from the Google program to us because they weren't satisfied about kind of the experience they have because they only have peer reviews, right? They didn't have anyone to actually look at their work and critique them and then point them to the right direction. It makes me wonder how important it is really to have mentorship, to have instructions for someone who's completely new to the field. Carrie, what do you think? Like, is mentorship or hands on instruction completely necessary, 100% necessary, or not so much? What do you think?
This is nuance. This is not black and white as far as an answer, right? I just think that it depends on the person. So there's like different learning types, of course, like visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So depending on what kind of person you are, you can do either or. There are people that are self-taught as well, right?
Yep.
That can just pick up, cues and just jump right into work and get hands-on. I think no matter what kind of learner you are, eventually you want to get to that point where you can join like Path Unbound. I think they have like a bunch of different partnerships with nonprofits that you can get your feet wet in, and then after that join the actual startup and do the day-to-day work, right, and see if you really like it. I would say as far as mentorship, it's really hard because sometimes I think that mentors are overrated because they want to do everything but hire people, right? Or open up entry level jobs and not give really sound advice. But at the same time, I think if you, and this is where self awareness comes in, if you're really self aware and you meet with the person that can help you, but you're meeting them halfway on writing stuff down, right? From interview questions that you might have gotten in the past, from questions that you might have on how to get better at something in a sense, and making it concrete, then that person can meet you. But I would just highly recommend, once again, from my point of view, that you meet with someone where you feel accomplished at the end of the day, where you're getting the jobs done. And I mean, you're getting the job done of what you're trying to learn, right, during that mentorship. And if you feel like you're not getting anything from that, which is understandable because it is for free, then I would really highly recommend, if you have the means to, getting a design career coach, like someone who's a hiring manager who has driven teams, not just anyone, but someone who's, successfully grown teams, right? Someone who successfully, managed people in their careers. They promoted people, right? They sent people off to like really great companies as well and let them flourish. That you meet with someone like that and you kind of get like a curriculum or something going on so you can be really great at it. So like I said, it's just going to depend on you, what you're looking for, and also just reaching out to people in your industry, reaching out to people who might have had the same path as you as well. It might be frustrating, but you need to find that great fit. And if you're self-taught, you need to have that self-awareness and asking yourself, if I do this, if I learn this, is it going to help me get one step closer to the job? And if no, it's not that important at the end of the day. And you need to find the things that's going to get you hired, things that are going to get your foot in the door and get people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you keep, emphasizing self-awareness, because I think that's a big part of the problem. We have talked to some prospective students, in the past, who have a general idea that they want to be in design. That's a great thing that they have the first awareness. But when we dig deeper into their goals and desires, they can't really answer our questions, right? We ask them, oh, do you want to work in, this kind of environment? Are you intrigued by this aspect of design? They said, oh, I don't know, which is really common. But I think this is both the job for the aspiring designer themselves, and for someone who's helping them, coaching them, to work on that first together before you even decide, oh, what kind of program am I going to take, right? Like what kind of mentor, or whether or not I need a mentor or an instructor. I agree it's not black and white. So ask yourself this question: how do I learn best? Have I learned successfully without someone before? I think, most learners at this stage, it's not their first go around, right? They've been to school before, at least, a few years of schooling before. It probably reminds you of your learning style. So for example, I know myself, I learn really well alone. So then it means I would probably sign up for some classes, but I wouldn't sign up for everything, for classes. So when we look at the Google UX certificate, we want to look at it from as much of an objective view as possible. For some people, it might work out. For example, you mentioned, Carrie, that if you're someone who's currently working as a developer, right, or as a product manager at a company, and you want some upskilling. You want to understand what your partners in your company are doing. It's a really great platform to learn. But if you're completely new to the industry, it may help you to get a generalized understanding as well. But you need to dig deeper yourself after, and don't think of it as a one-stop shop to your dream career. That probably won't happen that easily, but it can happen when you, one, find the right fit for yourself, after you've gone through the self-awareness process. And second, choose the right program for you where you will be most supported according to your learning style. I think that's the most important thing. What do you think, Carrie? Did I summarize what you say?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I couldn't agree more. And that and I just want to let everyone know that's listening to this, everyone path is different. Don't compare yourself to another person because we all go through different paths. Some people, like, even if you're really passionate about it, you're great at what you want to do. Even if UX is for you, it might take you more time to get into it than other people, and that's okay. At the end of the day, think about the long game instead of what you can get short term and shortcuts that you can take.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Carrie, for this lightning discussion today. We want to keep it relatively short today. And I hope this video will help clear up your questions or reservations or frustrations with the Google UX design program, and maybe help you point out your direction to the next step. And as always, thank you so much, Carrie, for joining us. We appreciate your time, and we will be back with Carrie for another lightning episode very soon.